Hi, my name is Sarah. I'm at Crystal Bridges, which houses Still Life with Flowers by Stuart Davis. This artwork, an oil-on canvas created in 1930, showcases Davis's continued experiments with European modernism and color space realism. Davis dedicated his life to an exploration of his own American modernist identity. Still Life with Flowers represents a stepping stone on the path of Davis's ever-evolving artistic theory. It exhibits a vase of flowers on a golf course in front of a hotel. It depicts Davis's experiments in color and space, showing his development of depth formed from thick lines and geometric planes of color. Davis theorized constantly on modernist art, amassing over 10,000 pages of his written theories on color space realism. Davis's work was influenced by his rebellious artistic mentors and his New York explorations. When Davis was born in 1892, he was instantaneously introduced into the American Progressive Era artistic community. Both of his parents had studied at the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts, a renowned art school against academic Victorian ideals. Robert Henry, an anarchist artist and friend of the family, would become Davis's mentor in 1909, when Davis entered Henry's Ashcan School in New York. In this school, Henry championed the working class and the everyday, depicting saloons, gutters, and ashcans as subjects in art. Davis did not like formalism, as he insisted that art represented the artist's emotional and intellectual response to its subject matter. However, Davis built upon his color space realism theory throughout his career. Still Life with Flowers exemplifies this realism, as this composition shows brightly colored shapes forming three-dimensional space without the use of value. In this work, Davis utilizes the elements of line, shape, space, and color. The lines in the piece direct the viewer's eye outward from the vase of flowers to the hotel. The bright intensity of the colored shapes forms a three-dimensional hotel space. The intense color of the shapes creates a sense of overlapping depth that also exhibits its importance. Proportion works with emphasis in this work, as the huge vase overtakes the painting. The vase is as large as the hotel and covers the entire golf course. The second method for review is autobiography. This vase depicts Davis's love of jazz in the Hoboken and New York areas during his time in the Ashcan School. There are music notes on the leaf and coming from the white flower, while the flower bulb retains the shape of a grand piano. In the surroundings, the vase is equal in size to the backdrop of the hotel and cafe. This proportion exhibits Davis's inspiration from European modernists from the Armory Show and from his year in France. However, the hotel and cafe remain in the background, showcasing Davis's work toward his own American modernist identity. Below the vase, the curled line leads to the golf pennants marked with an H and Y. These are indicated as Harvard and Yale. The vase and hotel dominate the golf course in scale, making it seem minuscule in comparison. This may exemplify Davis's disregard for the snobbery of the wealthy academic and his belief in Marxism. In A Still Life with Flowers, Davis exhibits Cubism and Surrealism. Davis's experimentation began with America's late introduction into modernist art. It was at the Armory Show of 1913 in New York that Davis and other Americans were exposed to artists like Gauguin, Van Gogh, and Matisse. The controversial show introduced America for the first time to modernist European painting, covering the past 75 years of development in areas such as Cubism, Futurism, and Post-Impressionism. Davis wrote of his inspiration from Gauguin's use of color and began working toward the style of Cubism. After the Armory Show, Davis experimented in mixed media collages, synthetic cubist landscapes, and a series of tobacco packaging paintings. In 1927, Davis moved to sharp-edged, machine-like shapes in pieces like Percolator and Egg Beater No. 1, foreshadowing the later works like Still Life with Flowers. These exhibited the characteristic structural planes created from saturated hues of color. After returning from France, Davis began to further incorporate these elements in Still Life with Flowers, showing American jazz in Cubist style. Flowers shows the synthetic cubism of Picasso, as it depicts brightly colored shapes overlapping one another. Davis attempts his own take of cubism as he adds line and focuses on the space created by the fragmented shapes. It shows surrealism, a state of higher reality, in its proportional space and thick directional lines. The large vase is not in a realistic scale, much like the composition of works of Salvador Dali. I chose this piece because I love the symbolism and I admire Davis's incorporation of American ideals into Cubism and Surrealism. When Davis began experimenting with modernism after the Armory Show, it was being largely ridiculed by the public. Yet, Davis felt a sense of connection with the work and decided to pursue modernist form, showing his dedication to his own artistic identity. From a collection of intense shapes, you can find that Davis was interested in jazz, the working class, and Paris. Moreover, the depth created from the plane and color depict Davis's intellectual merit and dedication to artistic theory. The painting serves as a warm introduction to Davis.